Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Grow Your First-Time Homebuyer Business. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. I'm the Director of Operations and Customer Support here, primarily in charge of working with our customers who leverage our data about down payment assistance programs, and also the staff, the technologies, the processes, the relationships that we leverage to track and monitor all of the down payment assistance and other home buyer programs around the country and keep that information current and up to date and accurate for you guys. So what we want to focus on today is really the state of down payment assistance programs and the impact of COVID, what we should be looking at and expecting going forward. And then we want to talk a little bit about the first-time homebuyer market opportunity. And that's evolved a lot over the last couple of months. So we want to highlight some opportunities we think exist. And then also education for prospective buyers about down payment requirements as well as down payment assistance. And then we'll show you how to enhance your marketing and expand your reach with your marketing to those new audiences, especially the next wave or next generation of first-time home buyers. And in particular, we'll show you the Down Payment Connect tool and examples of how that's being used and how down payment assistance programs are being broadcast and marketed by your peers. We're going to look at examples from realtors and real estate agents around the country. So big picture, that's what we want to cover today. We also have Melinda Harris in the background. She's our Director of Marketing, and she'll be helping out with Q&A. Keep this interactive. If you have success stories, if you have examples of using down payment assistance programs in the past, share those with us, but also share your questions as we go. You can use the Zoom questions pane for that. And we want to keep it interactive. We'll get to as many questions as we can as we go in the background. And we did leave time at the end for a Q&A session as well. So let's dive in. A little bit more about us. At Down Payment Resource, we are at our core a database of all of the roughly 2,300, 2,400 homeownership programs around the country, from every state housing finance agency down to every city and county and local nonprofit that offers some sort of down payment help, closing cost help, tax credits, and other forms of homebuyer assistance. Our technology helps you guys connect home buyers to the down payment help that they need. Our audience today is probably mostly realtors, and perhaps some loan officers are with us today, maybe some homebuyer education providers or housing counselors. But primarily, I think our audience today is real estate agents. We do also integrate our platform and our data into MLS systems and property listing data. We'll show you a little bit about how that works, particularly through our MLS partnerships, and we'll show you who those partners are as well. And then we're going to talk a bit about Down Payment Connect. Many of you may already have access to Down Payment Connect, which is a marketing and lead generation tool for free through your MLS via our partnerships. And if not, if we haven't partnered with your MLS yet, or if you're a loan officer, you may have access to Down Payment Connect through a subscription. So we'll get to that. But at our core, essentially, we are here to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help that they need. That's our goal. That's our core mission. That's why we collect this data about down payment programs. And it's why we've built the tools that we've built for you to be able to bring awareness and attention to these programs and the home ownership or home purchase opportunity that they present to your client base and to your prospect base. Now, there are a lot of different kinds of home buyer programs out there. We actually have an entirely separate webinar where we break down the 3 most common types of home buyer assistance. But when you hear the term down payment assistance, just know that could mean a lot of things. There are programs out there that are grants, meaning it's a true gift. There are all kinds of second mortgage programs. They may have deferred payments. They may be forgivable over time. There are also tax credits, and a lot of housing finance agencies have very competitive, affordable first mortgage products. And then some of our database includes other programs like matched savings programs and housing vouchers and so forth. But to be clear, 77% of all of those homebuyer programs we track around the country are some form of down payment and closing cost assistance. So while the term DPA or DAP or down payment assistance can be used and is often used broadly to describe a lot of these different kinds of programs, just know that by and large, we are talking about that at closing down payment and closing cost help. These programs are available nationwide. Now, this is an illustration from a recent index that we took, sort of a snapshot of all of our data about down payment assistance programs. The map highlights the states that at that time had the most programs, but every state has a state housing finance agency. Many have local housing finance agencies in bigger markets. Cities, counties, nonprofits, housing authorities, community development departments, and many more other types of agencies also have layers of homebuyer assistance programs available. So literally every market in the country is covered. There are dozens, if not more, programs in every state. So we just want to be clear, no matter where you are, no matter which MLS you're a member of, no matter where you do business or where you're licensed, there are down payment programs, there are homebuyer programs in your market. Now, a few things about down payment assistance programs. We get inquiries all the time, even pre-COVID, about the status of down payment assistance. So I'm gonna begin with the end in mind here. Down payment assistance is still available. It is not going away. Now, have things changed? Has COVID impacted the availability or the nature of down payment assistance over the last few months? Sure. Let's clarify. First of all, every state housing finance agency and every local housing finance agency has remained open throughout the year despite the impact of COVID. They have been open, accepting reservations, and in many cases, experiencing record volumes. Now, we'll get into interest rates in a moment, but now that's at sort of the state level, and housing finance agencies are one type of program provider. Now, there are also cities and counties and nonprofits and so forth that I mentioned. Most of their programs have remained widely available. Now, it is true that not every program is funded all the time. That's just normal market conditions, right? Some programs are funded by seasonal funding sources. So, at the city or the county, they may get money, in the spring or in the fall, and they'll offer their program for as long as they have money, then it will run out. That's normal, right? Now, earlier this year, as an immediate impact of COVID, we saw a lot of fluidity in the market, stock markets, the bond market, and so forth. A lot of that drives interest rates and impacts down payment assistance programs. The Fed stepped in, they did some work. The markets have stabilized, at least the bond market has stabilized, and rates have continued to come down. So we have seen some products or pricing options temporarily paused or suspended, but on the whole, the agencies remain open. Their programs, their down payment assistance programs remain available, and we've seen a lot of stabilization, at least in the housing and bond, well, I don't say housing, but at least in the bond markets that drive a lot of housing finance agency products. So without getting into the weeds there, down payment assistance programs are still available. Only about 2% of the down payment assistance programs out there, at some point or in some cases still are paused temporarily. Now, those are almost exclusively local municipalities, so cities or counties, or nonprofits who serve a local market area who had to close their doors and start working remotely. And of course, that wasn't the norm for those entities. And so they've had to adjust, they've had to pause programs. Certainly those programs that typically would launch to the market with an in-person homebuyer seminar or launch event, those obviously couldn't be done. So we're seeing almost all homebuyer education is being done online now. That was a trend beginning years ago, but of course that's basically exclusively being done online now, which again points to the fact that these programs are still available and the homebuyer education requirements are still being met because online courses and the providers of those courses are still, business as usual. And then we also saw a lot of changes out of DC from HUD, from FHFA, USDA, VA, and so forth. And so housing finance agencies and DPA providers have had to react to those changes. I'll also add 2020 income limits have started to come out. So in most cases, those income limits have gone up. So in your market, a lot of those down payment assistance programs have recently been increasing their income limits. So that's just sort of big picture, the state of DPA. But again, I want to reiterate, down payment assistance programs have not gone away. They are still available. They're not going to go away. Business as usual for many of them. There have been some temporary pauses for some, especially local programs. But on the whole, DPA still looks like a normal market. We'll see, hopefully, some of those municipalities back in the office and opening up their programs soon. Although we can't speak for what's going to happen over the next few months, as it looks like perhaps we're headed into a second wave. So what we want to do is think about the first-time home buyer, what that might look like today, and then talk about how to reach them, how to get their attention, how to understand the issues and misperceptions that they struggle with, and how to combat those with solutions and education. So that's what we want to dive into. That's the crux of the webinar today. So when we think about first-time home buyers, we often hear, I'm saving for a home. I've been saving for a while. I think I'm going to have to save for a while. I doubt I qualify. I probably don't have enough money saved. I want to stop renting. I want to buy a home, but it's just not the time. One of the most common underlying misperceptions or drivers of that delay in exploring home ownership is just not understanding down payment requirements. And we'll get to that here in a moment. But I want to point that out because when we talk about educating the first-time home buyer, that's probably the first thing we need to bring attention to, is that you don't have to have 20% down to purchase a home. And you're going to see that from several perspectives as we move through this. So here's a survey from the Urban Institute. This was in 2018, so a couple years ago. They surveyed millennials and they were asking potential home buyers just some questions about the home ownership experience and expectations. One of the questions asked what their biggest barrier to home ownership was. No surprise, we hear it all the time. 68% of those surveyed responded that the down payment was their single biggest barrier to home ownership. We hear student loans all the time. We hear down payment. It's those two things, right? And they may not actually be barriers, but if perception is reality, we know that there are otherwise credit and income qualified prospective home buyers out there in the millions across the country, the tens of millions, honestly, that are ready to buy, but they think they need to save more. So to that point, another question asked in that survey was, how much do you think you need for a down payment? And we actually did a webinar for home buyers just a couple of weeks ago and asked that same question. And we were surprised at how many people still thought that they needed 15 or 20% down. Now, we all know as professionals in the industry, you don't have to have 20% down to purchase a home. You do if you want to get rid of mortgage insurance, right? MI or PMI. But you don't have to have 20% down to purchase a home or to explore home ownership. FHA, 3.5% down. Conventional, 3 to 5% down. USDA, if the property qualifies, 0 down. VA, if you're a qualified veteran, 0 down, right? So there are plenty of opportunities to get into a home with far less than 15 or 20% down. But again, if perception is reality, there are a frightening number of potential home buyers that believe they need a lot more down or a lot bigger down payment than they have or than they will have soon. And so they give up, or they don't explore it, or they don't ask the question, is this a possibility? They don't react to your marketing because they suffer from these misperceptions. So we want to combat that. One last example from that same Urban Institute study, the question was, how familiar are you with low down payment programs? Now that actually didn't even mean down payment assistance. That's another issue. That just meant FHA, conventional, USDA, VA. How familiar are you as a potential home buyer with low down payment mortgage options? More than 3/4 of respondents said they had little or no familiarity with those kinds of programs. And then you think about high rent costs, that's going to go up. What is the long-term implication of waiting to purchase a home? The value of the price goes up. Taxes may go up. We're seeing more about tax. Who knows what we're seeing there? But anyway, I'm not here to get into tax policy. But all that tells us there are serious misperceptions that are patently false that are festering among prospective home buyers, and it's our job to educate them. It's our job to head those misperceptions off, meet them with solutions, meet them with education, and at least let them explore the option and opportunity and wealth building motives of home ownership. Now, let's take a step back and let's look at January of this year, which I guess is a step forward from the study we just looked at. But through our work at Down Payment Resource, our partnership with MLSs, real estate agents, lenders, loan officers, and others in the industry, we've been fighting for 12 years to raise awareness of these down payment assistance programs, to bring you tools that simplify this information, that bring attention to these opportunities. So, interesting survey earlier this year. This was in January, so pre-COVID, right? But 31% of millennials who were surveyed, when they were asked by, this was clever.com, when they were asked, where do you plan to get your down payment? How do you plan to accrue your down payment for a home purchase? The second most popular answer was home buyer assistance programs, these down payment assistance programs we're talking about right now. So awareness is building among consumers, but that's still less than a third of those surveyed, less than a third of the millennial population. Clearly, misperceptions are still abundant. And so again, not to be repetitive here and redundant, we want to get rid of those misperceptions. We have to if we want to start planning for purchase pipeline growth, increasing the size of the pie rather than just simply our chunk of the pie. So how can you guys serve buyers? We keep hearing from consumers, we need a trusted advisor. And we'll show you some of the things that we hear from consumers, because consumers reach out to us daily. We don't sell anything to consumers, for example, but we're promoting these programs so that they will in turn open up that dialogue with you and ask you that question, explore home ownership, and figure out what the possibilities really are. So anyway, we hear they need trusted advisors and they need information that will help them prepare for the future. Do I renew my lease? How long do I need to plan for home ownership? What is that going to look like? What is the mortgage process going to look like? What does inventory look like? So big picture, is this opportunity viable? But we also need to remember, when we are past COVID, buyers are going to work with people they're going to want to work with and refer to people and companies who were there to serve them and educate them and keep them informed during a time of crisis, but also during a time of one of the most important financial decisions and purchases they're going to make. And they're going to tell their peers. So bearing that in mind, let's dig a little deeper into what we've been hearing, what we've been hearing from home buyers. And again, we've been doing webinars for home buyers recently, which is something we hadn't done ever before, actually. But this year, we've started a webinar campaign to educate more consumers, bring this information to them, try to cultivate that purchase pipeline more broadly, and incentivize them to reach out to a loan officer, reach out to a real estate agent, and explore these opportunities. But what we hear, they need help navigating the home buying process. Where do I start? What does it look like? What are the milestones? Who's going to help me? At what point? And so forth. They need to understand pre-approval and pre-qualification for a home loan, and maybe even the difference between the two. What to expect when they go in with loan documentation, timelines, basics about mortgage options. They need help comparing and understanding mortgage options, specifically down payment requirements. They need to know that you don't need 20% down. Sure, you can do that, right? If you have the means, but how many first-time home buyers are going to come in with 20% down? A slim few, right? They also need to understand home buyer education courses. It is a requirement for many down payment assistance programs, but at Down Payment Resource, we absolutely believe in the value of those courses, especially for you as real estate agents and loan officers, because that's creating better educated home buyers for you, but also for that buyer long-term, they're learning about home ownership and they're creating successful long-term home owners through those courses. And of course, they need to cover their down payment and closing costs. So not only do buyers need to understand what down payment requirements are, what to expect in terms of closing costs, but they have to cover it. They have to solve for that problem, right? So obviously there are a lot of down payment assistance programs out there. Broadcasting those programs, making consumers aware of them is a big step towards cultivating a pipeline of purchase-ready buyers. And then, of course, they need, at this point, to navigate a competitive market. We keep hearing bidding wars, right? Bidding wars, partly due to, of course, limited inventory, especially in the affordable price bands. And, what's going to be done to resolve that over the next 3 months, 6 months, year, and going forward. So all of these things are things that prospective buyers are bombarded with in the news. They need someone's counsel. They need to talk to somebody who can bring answers and solutions to them So that's what we're hearing for home buyers. Now, I want to get into how you guys can help, but let me start with who our MLS partners are. So take a look at the screen. If you looked away, take a look at the screen. If you are a real estate agent or realtor, take a look at the screen here. And if your MLS is listed here, they are a partner of Down Payment Resource and have integrated our tools and data into your listing system, whether that's Matrix or something else. So if your MLS is listed here, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you already have access to. If your MLS is not listed here, you still have tools at your disposal, and I'll walk you through that as well. Now, we also have a partnership with the California Association of Realtors. If you are a member of the California Association of Realtors, they're obviously not an MLS, they don't have listings, but you can go to downpayment.car.org and you can do a search for, you could log in, that's your logged in environment, right? Do a search for down payment programs and get even more information about those programs. And you also have some marketing ideas and some collateral there to assist. You can also direct your clients or your prospects to finddownpayment.car.org. So again, that's for California if you want to do a search there. And we'll give you some more resources for outside of California, especially with our MLS partners. Now, that's not lead generation stuff, but Down Payment Connect is. If you are a member of one of our MLS partners, then you have access to a number of things for free. If you're not, if you're in a different market and you still want the lead generation capability of Down Payment Connect, we're going to walk you through that in particular by showing you how your peers are using that tool. So first things first, if you're a member of one of our partner MLSs, log into your MLS, step one. Go to your dashboard, your MLS dashboard, and look for the Down Payment Resource button. And we'll put the list of our MLS partners back on the screen if you didn't see it earlier. But log in to your MLS dashboard, find the Down Payment Resource button. Every dashboard's different. This is an example of Matrix. For those of you not on Matrix, maybe you've got an MLS portal, log in there, look for your third-party tools and so forth. But anyway, when you click on Down Payment Resource, that takes you to our dashboard. You have access to, first and foremost, Down Payment Connect. And that's the crux of this marketing conversation we're going to get into now for the second half of this webinar. Your link is waiting for you there. There's no upsell, there's no freemium, it's just there. If you're a member of one of our MLS partners, you already have Down Payment Connect waiting for you for free, along with marketing resources to support your efforts to integrate or implement Down Payment Connect and down payment assistance program information into your marketing, be it on your website, social media, and that could be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and so forth, your email marketing, and more. We're going to show you plenty of examples here of how Down Payment Connect is being used. But first, we wanted to show you where to get it. All right, now, with those marketing resources come customizable flyers, video tutorials, and it's all from this link here on your Down Payment Resource dashboard. You've got your Down Payment Connect link that's unique to you. It's a lead generator. I'll walk you through how that works. But you've also got marketing resources, including flyers, images, some basic down payment resource images, as well as a collection of what we think are some pretty attractive and fancier looking social media images. We'll walk you through those too. You also have access to, from that same marketing resources link, the Down Payment Insiders Facebook group. This is almost 7,000 real estate professionals around the country, mostly real estate agents, some loan officers, that are sharing best practices, ideas, challenges, solutions they came up with for those challenges when dealing with first-time home buyers, down payment assistance programs, and so forth. So it's a great way to learn from your peers all over the country, see what they've tried, see what did work, what didn't work, get some ideas for marketing content, best practices, platforms, mediums, distribution methods, calls to action, and so on and so forth. So we encourage you to join that Down Payment Insiders Facebook group. And if nothing else, listen in, right? There are plenty of people participating. Melinda, who's in the background here, curates that group, keeps them engaged, and pumping content, pumping out ideas, asking questions to incite or compel response, and success story sharing, and so forth. So anyhow, check that out, join the group, listen in, follow along, participate, even better, right? So a couple of tutorials here. So these are Down Payment Connect users, and you're going to see examples from both of them of how they used it here in a moment. But Amber at the top here, her peers are all first-time home buyers. So when she started in the industry, that was the natural way to build her business, right? But she spent a lot of time combating this misperception that you have to have 20% down. So now she's able to show them that not only is that not the case, but there are down payment assistance programs out there that can help you get the required down payment, and she's built her business on that premise. Raul at the bottom here is in Texas, also a veteran. Thanks, Raul, for your service. He does a lot to help veteran home buyers. And he's, in fact, we met him on a Habitat build after we'd found out that he was using Down Payment Connect in some pretty creative ways. We'll show you some of those, but he's leveraging down payment assistance to help veterans. Now, sometimes we hear, well, with a VA loan, you don't need any down payment. It's zero down, right? Well, sure. 100% LTV, finance the funding fee, then you have closing costs. We're in a competitive market with limited inventory and bidding wars. So think about this. Down payment assistance and closing cost help for a veteran gives them equity up front, also empowers them to make a more competitive offer to the seller when they go out and try to sign a contract on the home they want. If they don't have to ask that seller for closing costs, and the seller looks at it as a bigger net gain for them because they're not helping a first-time home buyer cover closing costs. So when we think about the value and the impact of DPAs, that's one scenario that maybe is a little unique, but we need to think about those impacts and those values, especially in today's market. What's the impact of having closing cost help and not having to ask the seller? All right, so Down Payment Connect. We're going to show you right now, how are your peers leveraging not just our Down Payment Connect tool, but utilizing that to spread the word about down payment assistance programs and information in order to educate buyers, overcome some of these misperceptions, and attract new clients. So here's what the landing page looks like. The Down Payment Connect tool itself is a landing page where consumers can come search for down payment programs in your state, in your market, in your city, where they want to purchase, right? So it's pretty simple. They come in here, plug in a location. We tell them which programs are out there. If they want to enter an estimated price or their household income, or whether or not they're a first-time home buyer, whether or not they're in the military or they work in law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, education, they can enter all that stuff. All we need to know is their location, and we'll tell them which down payment programs are available once they submit a contact form. So we're going to tell them, hey, you go through the form. We'll tell you, we'll count up the programs that are available, fill out your information here about your household. It's all anonymous. If they want to learn more about those programs, they complete the contact form. So they still haven't seen any actual program names or information. You're going to get that lead before they ever see that. So they fill out the contact form on your Down Payment Connect page. When they submit that, they'll get a thank you page. They still haven't seen program names or information, right? So they submit the form, you get the lead, they get a thank you message. Only then will we send the buyer a confirmation email after they have submitted that form to you. And the confirmation email will then show them the names of the programs they found and how many dollars they might get. The only link to any third party in this email is your email address and your phone number. There's no link to anybody else in these emails that go to the consumer, your lead, right? The lead doesn't go anywhere else. It's all yours. Now, your lead gives you all the information they plugged into the contact form. This is emailed to you. And it also gives you links to further details about each of the programs that buyer, prospective buyer, found in their search. So that's how Down Payment Connect works. That's the consumer experience. If you need further program detail, here's an example of what you can see. Max assistance, what are the benefits? Who are the participating lenders? How do you do the home buyer education course, guidelines, flyers, and contact info for the agency? Now, how are realtors using it? That's how the tool works. That's really the consumer experience, ending with you receiving that lead, right? So how are your peers, real estate agents around the country, utilizing and leveraging Down Payment Connect to educate more buyers. Here's a realtor in Atlanta. This is his home page. And I have a few examples pulled up here in my browser. If we have time at the end, we'll take a look at a couple of them. Brian is one of them. But this is his home page. If you scroll down below his bio, the first thing he educates his website visitors about on the home page is down payment assistance. He's got a graphic on the left. He's got a couple sentences on the right with another call to action there. The graphic is a link. The click here button is a link. Both of them take that consumer into his Down Payment Connect page. And then he can use this URL here, his home page, in Facebook ads, in Facebook content or posts, on his Instagram profile. There's a lot of different ways to use it, right? But it started with him putting it on his home page on his website. So that's a pretty basic example. No fancy integration, just a couple sentences of content and a graphic and a call to action. But it's telling website visitors, it's telling his clients and his prospects, hey, just so you know, there are down payment assistance programs out there that can help you buy a home. So that's one example. Now, taking that a step further, Susan, also in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, she has gone a step further and done what we call iframed the Down Payment Connect form into a page on her site. So she has a page on her website dedicated to down payment assistance information. That page, instead of writing content, putting graphics and so forth on that page, she just created an iframe and just put the Down Payment Connect form in there. So anyway, we can, if you need help with that, or we want to know more about that idea, you can talk to your webmaster, or if you want to reach out to us, that's fine too. But that's another way of accomplishing a couple of things. One, making it a little more obvious that down payment help is out there because the screen says it, but also that's the search experience, and they haven't left Susan's website. So they're going to do their search right in that little frame, right? Not, across the top, that's her website. Across the left, that's her website. And this block of content at the right, that's the Down Payment Connect search form. The consumer's going to do the search, go all the way through the contact form, submit the lead, and still be on Susan's website. Now, another way to use this is on mobile responsive pages. So here's an example of a page that this realtor drives, especially social traffic to, knowing that they're most likely to be on mobile devices. She's got a few widgets on the page, but you can see that one of them, again, iframed into a part of this page, is the Down Payment Connect form. It's got a header up there, Down Payment Help in pink or red. I don't know. My wife says I'm colorblind, but that looks red to me, or pink. I don't know. Anyway, she's got the Down Payment Connect form plugged into a widget on her site. And so when mobile traffic comes, the way that all wraps on the device is the down payment search form is going to be right there for them to use and experience. And as with the previous example, they're never leaving her website, right? They're not clicking open to another browser tab or anything like that. They're going to do the whole thing right there on the Elite Dreams Home Realty website. Okay, so these are some website examples. I'll give you another one here. Think about your top navigation or your left navigation on your website. Wherever the main site navigation is, this is an example of just creating one more navigation item, or could be an item within your buyer menu dropdown, right? But create a down payment assistance menu item or navigation menu, and you could take them to a page. You could write content. You're going to see a great example of that in a moment. But you could also just embed the form there, right? You're still on their website. So this is iframed again. We're still on the Premier Homes website. You see their banner at the top and their top navigation, but their down payment assistance navigation menu takes them to another page on their site where they've created this iframe and they've embedded the Down Payment Connect form into that page. And Angela here gets all of the leads, of course, that come from that page. And as with the last two examples, keeps that website visitor on her website and not in another browser tab, right? So those are some website examples. Now, we see a lot of realtors and loan officers use Down Payment Connect in their email signature or in email content, right? You can use it in email campaigns. If you've got some sort of automated marketing tools, create a message create a message or two as part of maybe a drip campaign, like a new client or onboarding drip campaign or a first-time homebuyer marketing campaign. And you can say, hey, by the way, down payment help is out there. Click here to see if you qualify. That's it, 2 sentences. I bet it gets traction. And I know that because we've seen it. But this is an email signature. So Sal here, he just incorporated Down Payment Connect into his email signature so that every email he sends to anyone includes the fact that down payment money is available, and that graphic at the bottom is a link so anybody that gets it can click on it and see which programs are available. So he's widening the net in terms of lead generation capability. So that's email signature and email content. If you have a blog, in fact, let's just treat that as a poll. If you have a blog, give us the URL in the questions pane or the chat box. Let us know the URL. Maybe we can pull it up and take a look. But think about this. The life of a blog is a lot longer than perhaps the life of a social post, right? Let's say something went viral. That's usually pretty quick and then it's done and gone, right? But the life of a blog post can have a longer tail on it because you can apply SEO, search engine optimization. You can revisit or revive that blog post down the road and increase the value or the life of that blog post. This one, for several years after it was posted, continued to gain attention and attract eyeballs and create leads for the firm that created and published this blog post. And it was just a couple paragraphs. And it was in a high cost market. Hey, by the way, down payment programs are out there. Here's a way to search. It's that simple, right? And you can wrap more content about it. And we're going to get into examples of deeper content here, which is a great educational play. But if you have a blog, consider down payment assistance or first-time home buyer solutions. And it could be about the property. It could be about the potential buyer. Depending on your business model, you could be attracting the attention of potential sellers by way of letting them know that, hey, by the way, because your home qualifies for down payment assistance programs, we could potentially generate more eyeballs, more foot traffic, well, that maybe post-COVID, more foot traffic at an open house, but also more offers because the programs out there for down payment assistance would be applicable to that house at that location in that price range. All right, so that's a blog. Continuing on here, explainer videos. We're going to see a couple of video samples here. This is on a page, and this is a team in Richmond, Virginia. They created this video on their own. We didn't create the video, although we do have video tutorials for you. They created a video briefly explaining the home buying process and down payment requirements. And then they injected down payment assistance. Now, I'll show you, if we have time, the actual website here. It's actually long, and it's got all kinds of content about the impact of profession, location, home price, income, home ownership history. And it provides a pretty deep educational experience with multiple calls to action to get people into their Down Payment Connect page and doing a search for down payment programs. So again, if we have time, I'll show you the actual website there, but that team in Richmond leveraged video and a lot more content that we've actually seen swiped and adapted elsewhere over and over again over the years. They did a great job of laying out content. We also see homebuyer checklists. And this is one example, and they come in many forms. We pulled this one out because we liked it, and also because, not even selfishly, step one was find out what you can afford. And that includes exploring down payment assistance. Then, or as part of that process, talk with a loan officer, get pre-qualified, then get pre-approved, and then you start finding a home, right? So this is also sort of a call to action here for real estate agents. Leverage your partnership with your loan officers. And we're going to talk more about that here in a couple minutes. But if you've got checklists or one pagers or how to get started kind of content or information or lead hooks that you send out, think about down payment assistance. Think about the prevalence of down payment misperceptions, and think about how many times, if you got down payment assistance information in front of somebody, think about how many times that could be the thing holding them back from reacting to your other marketing. Because while prices are going up, that could detract from their willingness to explore home ownership. Their lease is coming up. The market looks great. That's great, but I don't have enough down payment. I need to save more. I need 3 more years to save $100 a month for a down payment. Just put it in front of them. Maybe that's the obstacle. We know for a fact that an overwhelming majority of millennials are not exploring home ownership. And we looked at that earlier, several different ways, Urban Institute, clever.com, and so forth. We know for a fact that so many millennials are not exploring home ownership quite simply and specifically because they don't think they have enough down payment or they misunderstand down payment requirements. So anyway, checklists, things like that, add down payment assistance information to it, get it out in front of your audience, and let's see if that's the one thing holding them back. Now, social media, let's talk about that for a few minutes. And again, the idea here is to show you how your peers all over the country are using down payment assistance information and our Down Payment Connect tool to engage, reach, and educate a broader audience. So Raul, we saw a quote from him earlier. He's in Austin, Texas. On his Facebook page, he created a series of videos, just sort of how-tos, very quick hitting, how to get started, what to expect in this scenario. One of them was about down payment assistance. How do you look for down payment assistance when you're researching home loans? What's the best approach? Quick, simple video, generated a lot of traffic, got a lot of buzz, and he included that in a drip campaign, a video drip campaign. And when he was pretty new to the business, leveraged that opportunity along with the entire drip campaign to build out his business. Now, highlight success stories. We're going to come back to video here in a moment, but highlight success stories. Tell potential clients what you did for another client. And that doesn't mean that you have to have pictures of the family with their name and the address of the home they bought. It can be anonymous, but it needs to be real, of course. But, hey, this family of 3 just had a baby and I got them, $7,500 in down payment help from this program. And they closed in 40 days, something like that. Tell that story on Facebook. And honestly, don't be afraid to over communicate success stories. That's what somebody facing the misperception about down payments most likely needs to hear, that someone in a similar scenario was able to get assistance and get into a home now, rather than prolonging their wait and prolonging the process. So share those success stories. We use this program and got this family this many dollars and they got in the home. And then, the next time you have a similar scenario, write it up again and let your prospect base know about the actual success stories that closed and the assistance they got and how you helped them accomplish that. I will also point out here, this team is in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. Notice across the header image, they've got their brand, they've got their team brand, they've also got their mortgage partner. I mentioned earlier, leverage your mortgage partner. I'm going to reinforce that now and come back to it again in a moment in more detail. Facebook videos, same team in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. Look at the timestamps or the durations of these videos on the right. 55 seconds, minute 5, minute 14. These are very short videos. Show them your personality, show them you, give them some information, just enough to compel them to pick up the phone and call you. This is a 1-minute video. Their phone number's on there. They're talking about how to find a lender that offers down payment assistance. That's a great way to promote not just you and not just down payment assistance, but also your lender partners. And that's a great way for you and your lender partners to team up and say, okay, if I do this video series and I include this in my onboarding drip campaigns and I get this out to prospective first-time home buyers, when they call me, I need to know you can get them pre-qualified. You have down payment assistance programs available that you participate in. We can set expectations appropriately, partner up, pump them through the pipeline, get them out looking for a home pre-qualified with a letter. Maybe they've got closing cost help so that you as the realtor understand where your competitive advantages lie on behalf of your client. Go sign a contract and keep that pipeline growing and moving. All because of some very short 1-minute videos. He's standing in his kitchen, guys. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated, right? Here's another example of adding some content and also leveraging your navigation menu. So this website, under advice for buyers, they have a section called down payment assistance. Now you can't see the entire page here, but this talks again, it's an educational play, right? It talks again about the value of down payment assistance, who it might be available for, and it gets into other things like first time home buyer requirement and so forth, but it's laden with calls to action to get them to search Down Payment Connect for those programs so that they can generate leads and engage those consumers, educate them about these opportunities, and get them into the pipeline. So create a landing page. This is just a very simple landing page. This is almost the whole thing. Now, Marilyn is in Indianapolis. You'll see a quote from her in a moment. But she created this landing page, and she ran Facebook ads driving people to this page. When they filled out their name and email, they could then click this button. Now, that was her design, right? They could click that green button, click here to see if you qualify, and that would pump them into her Down Payment Connect tool. So she actually got a lead generation tool in front of Down Payment Connect, which would then again confirm that they had gone through that process and searched for programs. But she was able to capture who entered the form in addition to who came out of that form on the other end as a lead. So anyway, creative idea. And here's an example of the ads that she ran. Look at that, 2 sentences. Many first-time home buyers qualify for down payment money. See if you qualify, and let's get shopping for your new home. That's it. 2 sentences, generic photograph, link to her landing page, big time lead generator. And to prove it out, this is from her. She figured out how to maximize her Down Payment Connect landing page, and it's been even more successful than when she did Zillow leads in the past. I'm getting good leads. They are responding and interested. That's a direct quote from Marilyn in Indianapolis. So, again, as with like the Down Payment Insiders Facebook group that we talked about earlier, the whole point here is to show you what your peers are doing, how your peers are meeting with success, getting creative, engaging a wider, broader, better educated audience now because they're finding out about these programs and thus starting earlier to learn about down payment assistance, pre-qualification, and the home buying process. A couple more examples. Instagram. This is just a post, all right? But Bo here put a link in his bio to his Down Payment Connect page. And then again, 2 sentences, right? See if you qualify for down payment assistance or help with your closing costs. Stop second guessing yourself and don't leave money on the table. That's great, right? Just a couple sentences. You could do that on Facebook. That could probably be a great ad. I bet that would be a high performing ad. That's a very, very specific, somewhat aggressive call to action. Stop doing this because it's wrong. Do this now and I can help you, right? And I'm sort of paraphrasing, but I'm just saying as the framework for a message, that's a great way to get attention. So that's a Instagram post. Here's another example, and you see graphics in here, right? We've got great graphics ready to go on Instagram. You could obviously make your own as well. Feel free to leverage the ones we provide. I'll show you quickly if we have time how to get to those. But this is another example of just a couple of sentences. You can search online for many city, county, and specific down payment assistance programs. Run a search of your own today on my website and find out how easy it is for you to own a home today. That's great. And in fact, the first sentence there is the misperception, right? So he's literally asking the question that he knows the answer to so that the prospective buyer has to think about it. Are you looking to buy a home but worried that you don't have the down payment saved up? That's great, because we know quite literally that's the biggest obstacle to home ownership, especially for millennials. All right. Your bio on Instagram, if you use Instagram. So we talked about Facebook, website, email, Facebook ads, Instagram posts. Here's your Instagram bio. We didn't even get into LinkedIn today or Twitter. We can't cover everything in an hour, but hopefully this has given you some great ideas here. Linktree is a tool that we don't build. I don't know, Instagram owns it or built it. I'm not an Instagram expert, but Linktree allows you to put links in your Instagram bio. I believe it's just a plugin or something that you can get through Instagram or for Instagram. Then you can see on the right how you can add links in your bio. And that's actually what one of those posts was pointing to earlier. Hey, go to my LinkedIn or go to my Instagram bio, click the link, do a search. Well, here's an example of how that works. Kiana's in Atlanta. She's done it too. Okay, so I mentioned Instagram images. Here are some of the ones you just saw in some of those ads. There are all kinds of images ready to go. We've already built this for you guys. We have a consumer-facing blog at downpaymentresource.com. Go to our blog. You've got content there that, with attribution, you can repurpose and reuse. Happy for you to do that, and you don't have to build it from scratch. And that's why we're here today, is to show you what you have, show you what we're doing for you, and show you what others are doing with it. So start more conversations. I won't read through all these, but I'll let you browse them quickly. I want to get to the list of our MLS partners, and then we got about 10 minutes for Q&A. Add it to your email signature. Market eligible properties with program information. Talk to your sellers, right? Facebook ads. Use your link. Use a landing page if you want to build one on your website. And it doesn't have to be ads. You could boost a post. You could just post content and see how that works. Obviously, start there, right? Because it's free. Instagram profile. You can add your link. You can post content on Instagram. Educational content on your website, beginning with 2 sentences up to many paragraphs in video. First-time homebuyer section on your website or a down payment assistance section can be a great way to supplement buyer info with solutions unique to first-time homebuyers. Not that every down payment assistance program is only for first-time homebuyers. That's not true either. But nonetheless, first-time homebuyers ought to be considering it. Absolutely. Video. We looked at a lot of ways you can leverage video. I won't regurgitate all that, but it doesn't have to be complicated, and it don't have to be long. 30 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. Host virtual homebuyer events. Obviously, not many people are going out to open houses right now. Open house inventory is limited, but we're going to do some homebuyer webinars, and we're going to try it out on Saturday mornings. But host virtual events. Get together with a loan officer. Get together with a down payment assistance provider. Host a virtual event. Educate people in your market. Tap your social media audience and your prospect base. Offer a virtual event. Offer some education. Then we looked at ideas for drip campaigns, leveraging video, content, short calls to action. And of course, Down Payment Connect can be easily injected into all of this to give you the lead gen piece. So who are the experts that can help you? We give you a lot of tools. We're not social media experts at Down Payment Resource, but we're showing you what your peers have done to illustrate the creativity and the expertise that's working out there in the market. But leverage your participating lender. Leverage your loan officer partners. Ask your loan officer partners which or if they participate in down payment assistance programs and which ones. Leverage their expertise in those programs. Host virtual seminars. We pretty much covered that, so I won't regurgitate again. Highlight information about your local DPA programs in your marketing content. So we saw an example of highlighting success stories, having used a down payment assistance program with a client, but highlight the programs. That can be great content for marketing. And you could do one a week for 6 weeks and still have programs left over in your market to highlight. But hey, you can get up to this many dollars, up to this purchase price, and maybe even that's enough, right? But roll that out. Hey, by the way, this program's really cool. What's the name of the program? And you can get X dollars in down payment help. Anyway, so that's a great idea too that we didn't even really cover today. And then lastly, we always recommend attend a homebuyer education course. Now, pre-COVID, that was a lot easier because you could do it in person, maybe even with a client. When we get back to that point, if you can find a way to do it in the interim, online, maybe sit with a client and participate in part of their course, but absorb the message through those homebuyer education courses. Absorb the content and then incorporate that into your marketing, because that's an educational voice that you can bring to your marketing and hopefully attract the attention of more prospective buyers. So I'll wrap this up with, here are your MLS partners. We got 5 minutes left. Let's get into Q&A. Melinda, I'm going to leave this list of partners up on the screen. If you are a member of one of these partners, you have Down Payment Connect for free. I showed you how to get to it earlier. You also have down payment assistance program data integrated into listings. Look for that on agent reports. Your client reports will have them too. If you do not have, or if you're not a member of one of these MLSs, then you can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC and you can subscribe to Down Payment Connect, and you can engage in all this marketing that we just talked about and leverage that tool to do so. So with that, I'll put our contact information up here on the screen. But for those of you outside of those MLS markets, I'll leave this up here if you want to check out Down Payment Connect. And Mel, what's going on in the questions area?
Well, first, I just want to remind everyone that we are sending out a follow-up to this webinar that will include a recording because we've had a lot of people asking that. So I just want everybody to know that we will send out a follow-up that will include a recording to the webinar in case you missed any of it. And then something else, I had a couple of questions about how to find lenders that do these programs. And Sean, you may have more to add to this, but my answer has been, when you're searching for programs or in your DPR search results, you will actually see a link to participating lenders, if applicable, for each of the programs. So that may be a good place to start. Sean, I don't know if you have something to add to that.
Yeah, when you, I'll put our contact info up here. If you're a member of one of our MLS partners, we showed you the list a couple times. When you're looking at listings in your MLS system, looking at the agent single line, agent detail, and so forth, click the DPR link. Any program in there has a button that says learn more. First thing we show you is participating lenders. Same thing when you get a lead from Down Payment Connect, you as the agent get links to details about every program that client found in that search. And the first thing we show you there are the list of published participating lenders on the program provider's website. So those are lenders that the program provider has published as participating in their program. And actually, I'll add to that. Step one, talk to your loan officers. See what they participate in. So what else, Mel?
Yeah, I was just looking through. I did have we've got a couple of partner members on the call. And so just a reminder, and Sean went through that, I think, in the webinar, but if you want to find Down Payment Resource, if your MLS is a DPR partner and you want to find us, ultimately you will log into your MLS, and we are typically on your MLS homepage. You'll find a link to Down Payment Resource. If you click on that link, that will take you to our member homepage so you can access all of our tools. Yeah, Sean's bringing it back up again for everyone.
Yeah, and guys, you guys are members of MLSs all over the country on different platforms, but the basic idea is log into your MLS, and on that dashboard for our MLS partners, they will have a link to Down Payment Resource, something like this, or your dashboard might look a little different, but click that, and it takes you right into our Down Payment Resource dashboard. Your link is right there at the top, already generated, already functional, already waiting for you. And all the marketing resources are in this page linked right below that. And I guess I'll flip to our partner list here real quick. Let's leave that on the screen for a moment. What else?
Honestly, those were the main questions. I don't really have. We have a couple that are open right now if you want to take a peek as I reply to a couple of other ones, but those were the main things.
Okay, so I see Anna asked, is this info available for agents without extra sign up? Anna, yes. If you are a member of one of the MLSs on this screen right here, then yes, you have Down Payment Connect without any extra sign up. It's literally already waiting for you. And that's what we just went through, how to get to that. The link to the videos, Bernardo, yes. Let's see, answer live. Bernardo asked, could you show the link to the videos? So yeah, so there were a couple of video things we showed. One is when you go get your Down Payment Connect link, the green button right below that, marketing resources, when you click that, you're gonna be taken to this Down Payment Connect marketing resources page. There are video tutorials for you on that page, along with customizable flyers, social media images, access to the Down Payment Insiders Facebook group, and more. If you were talking about the way that some of your peers were using video, pardon the scrolling here, we had a lot of slides, but here's an example. This was just an agent that recorded some quick 1-minute videos. You can see, one point he's in outside in the alley, one of them is in the hallway of a building, one's in his kitchen. That's one way. Just record videos of yourself, show them your personality and give them some information about down payment help. Let's see, there was another video example. We talked about Raul. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm going to flip around here again. Raul, this doesn't show the video on the screen, but he has a link to it. You can see there. Anyway, he just did a series of videos about steps in the home buying process, and he rolled one out every week and did it for 10 weeks. And one of them was about down payment assistance. So anyway, hope that helps answer that question. Let's see, what's a good contact if we need assistance? Anna, let me get to our last page here. If you need help, you can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC. If you are not a member of one of those MLS partners of ours, if you need help with anything anyways, you can go email us at info@downpaymentresource.com. Let's see. The agent from Atlanta. Okay, so we have somebody asking about an agent from Atlanta. Maria, you asked if we'll be doing this webinar again. Yes, we do this one at least every other month, and then we rotate opposing months with another popular topic, DPA 101. And then we always weave in other topics as well. But this is a standard webinar we repeat every other month. Let's see, the guy from Atlanta. So there were a couple people from Atlanta, but I think I know what you're talking about. That was very first one. Here you go. This is a realtor in Atlanta. The point here was that on his home page, under his bio, he added down payment assistance information, 2 ways to get to it. The graphic on the right, which was a link to Down Payment Connect, and the paragraph and call to action, click here button on the right, which is also a link to his Down Payment Connect tool. Okay, so we got another couple seconds here. Let's see. Todd asks, how do the prospect leads come to us? Via email, Todd. Good question. We have not yet integrated with Zapier or any other CRMs, I guess. We'd love to explore that. You may want to ask if you use something like that or another platform like that for lead management. Ask them if there's a way they can absorb the email leads that we deliver and post those into your CRM for you. A lot of them have, I can't remember the technical name, but basically they take the email, parsing, sorry, I think it's lead parsing. They'll take the email that we send, which is your lead, and they'll parse certain information out of that, and they're all pretty standard formats. Our leads are all formatted the same way, so there's some standardization to that. They may be able to parse the leads and automatically inject them into your CRM, or maybe they have, like, maybe as part of your CRM, you get a unique email address that you can forward leads to, and that's how they parse them. So anyway, look those up. Happy to see if we can't do something with a CRM like that. We are considering text notifications of leads. We haven't implemented that yet, though. Okay, one more. Okay, one last question here, and I think we're gonna have to go. Someone asked, can you get closing cost assistance if they're paying all cash for a house? Typically not, because they're going to be, in some cases, liquid asset limitations for these programs. It's not a requirement we often talk about. There are also, typically these programs are offered through a participating lender. So no, it's unlikely that there's a lot of down payment assistance help out there for someone paying all cash for a house. So, all right, Mel, I think we'll wrap it up here. Let me put our contact information back on the screen. So if you guys need help, reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com. So I'll put that on the screen here for a moment. And log into your MLS if you're a member of one of our partners. Take advantage of the down payment buttons on listing reports, but also go grab Down Payment Connect and start using that. We hope this gave you some useful ways, some creative ways to go engage a broader audience. And then if you want to check out Down Payment Connect, if you're not a member of one of our partner MLSs, or if you're a loan officer, then you can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC and you can subscribe to a paid version there.